Hey everyone, it's Misha here, and today I'm going to talk about a couple of reasons why A, I haven't made a video in like fucking forever, B, kind of a person with BPD's sense of self or lack thereof, and our lack of self-awareness in general about who we are and well, what we want to do with our lives and why that is ever changing, and also part of the reason why we have problems with relationships and friendships with others. So, obviously, it's been summer, so I've been, enjoying my summer, but a lot of my earlier months were spent obviously kind of confused about who I was, where exactly I was going, and I obviously didn't have the best people in my life. So that's kind of been definitely a reoccurring subject over kind of the entirety of my life is, who I choose to spend my time with and who I kind of give all my emotions to, and then when it comes back negatively, it affects me and it affects all of us with BPD because we put so much of ourselves into other people and we go from idealizing them to devaluing them really quickly, and that whole shift is just so exhausting. It can take weeks or even months to kind of, like fully, to fully feel more like ourselves. So those few months are kind of just like, obviously we're putting a lot of the blame on the other person because usually it's them that have hurt us, but it still takes time for us to come back to our center and who we really are. So we do lose ourselves quite a bit when we lose a person, even a friend. So it's definitely so difficult to tell our traits from the traits of other people and what we enjoy. And I've found such a lack of motivation in my past because I don't know what I should do. I've been told that, the things that I want to do aren't good for me or I shouldn't bother doing them. But finally, I think that I've decided to just go with what I feel is best for my life because at the end of the day, I'm the one living my life. No one else is living my life except for me. You start and you end with yourself. So I guess you kind of just have to start liking yourself before it's even an actual genuinely like love for yourself, if that makes sense. It's kind of like fake it till you make it. So if even though you don't probably like genuinely believe in yourself and believe that you're gonna, go places, that's our illness talking, and it's not ourselves. It's not that we're horrible, awful people. That's not the reason we feel this way. It's because it has been engraved in our minds for so long that it takes a really long time for us to break out of that. And that's part of the reason why those friendships and relationships really kind of get us down for a long time. So it is a very, very long journey into self-awareness and self-acceptance and all of that kind of stuff. It kind of sounds bullshit when you talk about it, like focusing on yourself or putting time for yourself, but it genuinely works. You just have to kind of get over that initial hump of, okay, this is stupid, like, what's the point? I'm just wasting my time. So you have to think genuinely deep, deep, deep down in your heart, like, what was it that made you happy? Even when you were a kid, or the first thing that you can remember, or the one thing that still gives you joy. You have to go for that. You have to follow that, even though there's going to be people being like, oh, no, you shouldn't do that, or you're not able to do it, or just kind of that negativity needs to just be forgotten, either temporarily or permanently, and you have to start listening to yourself again. And I feel like people with BPD, we have other people's opinions about us, and that is kind of the forefront of our mind. That is kind of what we base what we do on, is for other people. We kind of put ourselves on the back burner permanently, and we need to start pushing ourselves back into being our main focus. So for me, what I used to really, really love doing is acting. I always wanted to be famous, be on TV or in a movie. And slowly I was kind of just like, okay, maybe not. I was kind of alone most of my life. I didn't have many friends. People picked on me. And so slowly I just kind of started to get more shy and kind of, push back who I was because it wasn't being received well. And kids are mean, obviously, and now that you're grown up, you're either not going to see those people, or those people don't matter, or, those people are in their own shitty situations. But now I'm finally, starting to live for myself again and making those decisions that are good for me. And it's going to be definitely a long journey, but slowly but surely I do feel better, and I'm taking steps in something that I enjoy. Like right now, I'm going to start school at one of the top film schools in in Canada, and I'm going for acting. So I just decided to just go for it and do it, and everything I will make it work because that is what I want to do. And even if it doesn't work out, you know, at least I'm not going to be, you know, sitting in bed, you know, not being able to sleep, like all, like, you know, it's so hard. It just weighs you down when you're not doing something that you like, or wondering, you know, what if, or, you know, thinking that you can't do it. Why don't you at least try, see for yourself? You know, you'll never know that you're going to fail until you've already failed. And of course, failure does bring on a lot of negative emotions and could be like potentially depressed if it doesn't work out. But the fear of depression and the fear of failure can't set you back, because the good parts of you, like who you were before all of this bullshit weighed you down, that's still in there, deep, deep, deep down. And you need to like bring it up. And I don't know, maybe I'm full of shit. Maybe, you know, somewhere down the road I'm going to regret doing that. But I don't know that for sure. I could also be looking back on 5 years from now like, oh, that's when I started my journey, and now look where I am. So it's kind of it's a constant gamble, but life is a game, I guess, so might as well play it. Alright, so that's kind of the reason why I haven't been making videos. I've been kind of a little bit lost, trying to find myself and trying to make better friends, or more lasting friends, and trying not to completely indulge myself into someone. Like, when I have a friend, like my best friend, and I want to spend all my time with them, and I shared too much, now I'm starting to kind of idealize myself instead of someone else, which seems vain, and it seems cocky, and it seems narcissistic, but sometimes you need to put yourself first. You don't always put yourself first, because that is what leads to narcissism. That's what a narcissist is. But if you never put yourself first, then you're living for someone else, and then someone else may not deserve it, and you're not giving your 100% to the people, like your family and your true friends and all the people that do need it. So that's kind of where I'm going to end off. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter and all that stuff down below. Check out my Facebook page. It's about mental health and mental health awareness and stuff like that. So I'll see you guys later. I'll be recording a new video every week, I promise. And yeah, so